And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys feeling?
Doing well, man. Zoo, Bulls got a big dub last night against the Heat. About damn time. I know there's a lot of rumors flying around about the Bulls. I'm sure we'll get into it. But man, also just quick, I know we're doing NBA today, but man, some crazy NFL games this weekend. We were talking about it pre-production. That Vikings comeback, man, absolutely ridiculous. I hope somebody took the live money line when they were down 33 to nothing, just for the hell of it. Throw $2 on it, because that would have been a great payday. So, yeah, man, some crazy games.
Yeah, that game was incredible. I still remember that game. I watched like the first 5 minutes, took a little nap, man, because they were getting blown. After that Kirk Cousins pick six, I'm like, okay, it's over, man. I'm gonna stop watching this game. I wake up, I'm like, what? It's a one possession game, and then I see my boy Dalvin Cook with that unbelievable run and that tutty, man. It was a beautiful sight. Shout out to Dalvin Cook for pushing me into, I don't know, what is it, the semifinals of the playoffs, man. Shout out to Dalvin Cook for carrying me. He back, baby. He back. Dalvin Cook, man.
Shout out to the fantasy playoffs that started also. Like you say, the whole NFL was just on fire this past week. It's really interesting to see how it's going to start down the stretch. You got everything from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being how they are and how they're going to live into the playoffs to certain teams on certain coasts like the 49ers who are just trucking along with their third or fourth string quarterback. So, like you say, today it's about the NBA, but wanted to give the NFL a shout out. And, they're still king as usual. But with the NBA, Christmas time is here. So basically, a lot of people have a feel out for their new rosters, and there's a lot of movement going on. I will say in the league this year, just from like an outward view, it does look a whole lot more competitive. Now, we do have our bottom feeders that are always going to be, I feel like, at the bottom of the league. But there are a whole lot of teams that are in that 19, 13 range, to 13, 17 range. Like they're in that cluster of the middle. So it feels like this year is a whole lot more competitive. And that's really healthy for the NBA because, like you say, I've always asked the question, what is it going to look like when LeBron leaves? Well, it looks like it's going to be a whole lot more parity in the league. So I'm going to ask the guys, what are some of the storylines they've taken so far from the, this slate of games this year? And Zoo, I'm going to start with you.
Man, for me, man, as a diehard biggest Bulls fan here, man, I've been watching every game. And not going to lie, man, I like to relax after working, but watching this team this year has been rage-inducing. It's been depressing. It's been a pathetic experience as a Bulls fan where I question myself why I am a Bulls fan. Because the way they disrespect me with their defense this year. They disrespect me with their offense this year.
150.
150.
To a team without Rudy Gobert and Cat. And D'Lo coming back from injury. You got Ant-Man dropping a 30-piece, man. You give up 150, man. You drop over 120 points and you still lose? Still lose? Absolute joke.
Yeah.
Man, the thing I'm looking at, the Shams reported storyline, man. There was a huge blow-up in the locker room in halftime, man. A couple of players, not named players, called out Zach LaVine for his defense, particularly his help defense. Because when you get a little help defense, man, you get a little pick and roll, man. You got to help the helper. And what does Zach do? He's always late, man. Like, he just dozes off on defense. The dude's a little stupid on defense. You got a little Russell Westbrook on off-ball defense, man. He's an elite athlete who could be an elite defender, all NBA caliber defender, but he's just a little dumb upstairs, man. Like, he got his 215, got his max contract, even though he had that knee injury. They treated him well, believed in him, gave him the deal, fully guaranteed, and he plays that defense. It's atrocious. So some teammates had to call him out, man. Goran Dragic calls out saying that, man, we're not playing with each other, man. We're not playing for each other. Some egos were brought up. So only ego I see, we got Zach LaVine, man. Like, you got Vooch. Vooch, I don't know about Vooch. He goes, we got DeMar. There's some chemistry issues with DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, man. Two wing guys, man. We don't have an orchestrator, a point guard to orchestrate this offense. So the offense this year is a little clunky. Like, Alex Caruso is our starting point guard. He ain't no starting point guard, man. No. He's a beautiful role player that plays defense, toughness, passes the ball as a role player, man. Maybe hits an open three once in a while. Not a good offensive player. That is our starting point guard in the NBA. I love Caruso, but if you look at starting point guards in the NBA, he's bottom five. He's a bottom five NBA point guard. because he putting up 6 points a game. Do you know what he reminds me of on offense? Sometimes Keith Bogans.
There you go.
He gets 6 points. That's his over/under. 4.5, 5.5. That's his over/under, man. And you gotta bet the under sometimes because the dude just does not get buckets. He does not get buckets. But with this huge blow up as a Bulls fan, it brought up the question: rebuilding, full tank mode, and rebuilding, and hope for ping pong balls so you don't lose. You try to salvage that Orlando pick. So you gotta be real bad, get the 52% chance, get the top 4 pick, or you try to revitalize the team. Maybe a midseason trade, get another veteran guy in there, and go and just revamp the team's chemistry and mentality, aka what the Boston Celtics did last year. They had a huge blow up last year. Marcus Smart calling out Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum for being selfish, not being team players, going ISO, and they completely turned their season around and made the NBA Finals. People forgot they were like a below 500 ball club. Like it's incredible. They were a below 500 ball. They looked awful, and they turned their season around and had one of those dominant stretches last year to finish it off. So I am hoping, as a Bulls fan, they do that. They're off to a good start right now. They blew up the Miami Heat yesterday, albeit Jimmy Butler didn't play, Kyle Lowry didn't play, Gabe Vincent didn't play. So pretty much it was the Miami Heat G League team. But we whooped up. Yeah. We played better defense. We played help defense. I was watching that. I was like, they're playing aggressive defense, and they finally hit some threes. So that just sometimes happens. And right now, Atlanta Hawks, they are whooping their butt right now, 55-38. Beautiful, beautiful. So I am hoping what happened to the Celtics last year is what's happening with the Bulls this year. Because, man, bring up trade rumors, man. I don't think Zach LaVine wants to get traded, man. I don't think DeMar DeRozan wants to get traded. I don't think Vooch wants to get traded. I think they want to try to survive this tragedy and make it a good story. DeMar DeRozan says, man, all the best stories start with a little tragedy. You got to go through some conflict, man, so you can rise from it. And hopefully this pressure, man, makes a diamond. Now, it doesn't make a little doo-doo coal, man, a diamond. So that's what I'm hoping for right now. I hope Billy Donovan, he got his contract extension, man. Get your shit together, because this team is not in the play-in tournament.
6 games.
They're not in the play-in tournament. The only teams that you're better than are teams trying to lose basketball games. Those are the only teams. Every team that's trying to win is better than you. And every team's trying to lose are the only teams worse than you. So get your shit together. You lose the draft pick this year. So you guys sent to make the playoffs. Zach LaVine got a lot to prove. You want to be an all-star. Play better defense. Because your offense this year is off. And I'm like, okay, the knee injury, whatever. You're not fully athletic, but I want defensive effort. And that's up here, not down here, man. So that's my biggest takeaway right now with that big Shams report, Woj report, Casey Johnson, everybody, local news, man. It was a huge, huge news when that report dropped because, Jesus Christ, man, they looked like absolute garbage. I lost $40 to my bone.
There it is. There
it is. I was waiting on it. Absolutely. I was waiting on it, man. We got to witness the Bulls-Knicks game last week. Watching it with Zoo when Jalen Brunson absolutely just crossed up Caruso and made him fall over and pretty much solidified Zoo's earlier take on Alex Caruso being our starting point guard this year, even though defensive ability is usually his strength. So, yeah, man, it's been a tough start to the season. Zoo, I got to agree with you. I think that if they were to move somebody, it'd probably have to be Vooch. You know, I know that Levine's kind of the name being tossed around, but I just think Vooch with the expiring contract, right? He's got kind of a bad one. They spent a lot to get him, and that's kind of the annoying part. And I just don't think that they're too talented of a team to do what you're saying and going for that top 4 pick. I just the way like the Pistons, the Hornets, my God, I feel like Michael Jordan's going for it right now, trying to get Wembanyama. So yeah, man, I just think there's a handful of teams that are in better situations for those top 4 picks, and I just don't see the Bulls unless they get lucky like they did with Rose. So, yeah, man, it's been tough to watch them. You know, Kobe White actually had a decent game last night, but Patrick Williams, man. Patrick Williams, that's the catalyst for me right now. He's just been
bugaboo.
Yeah, abysmal. I just look at his line, box score every night if I can't catch the game. It's just triple singles, man. He's pulling a 34-year-old Draymond Green numbers, man. It's just he's got way too many. He has way too much potential. He just doesn't seem to have the confidence. But I also think they have so many guys that demand and need the ball and play on the perimeter that he's just I think he's kind of shy. He's that flower delivery.
He's not
boy,
a focal
man.
point. Yeah,
he's that flower delivery boy at heart still, man. And I just don't think he's the focal point of the offense. To your point, Sean. So, yeah, man, I hope they turn it around. Look, they've got what seven-ish weeks, almost 2 months till the trade deadline. I mean, I think that's kind of they got to give it another month and see where they're at, and then Billy Donovan's got to get this team going. I don't know if he lost control of the locker room, but man, guys like Goran and Drummond really got to step up. I think it takes some leadership here along with DeMar. So, yeah, hope they light a fire, man.
I think DeMar and I feel like DeMar is a really good leader. Just like off of interviews and just seeing his demeanor on the court, he seems like a guy who's a steady, like consummate pro. Like he's not like the brash type. So I feel like the core of the team with DeMar, I guess you could say being the figurehead, is fine. Like, because I think he could be that type of guy that's a leader. But I don't know. Yeah, you are kind of stuck in that weird spot because, like you say, you don't think you want to be the top, like the worst 4 teams in the league, because those spots are pretty much taken up by, the worst 4 teams, like San Antonio's, the Charlotte, like especially Charlotte. Like a lot of those teams that are at that Orlando, who are at that bottom tier, Houston, they kind of already are staking claim to that. Now they're going to be other teams that try to get in that mix once we get towards the trade deadline, because then it's really, I feel like, going to be a huge tank with a lot of teams that are kind of like would say fake pretenders right now, or contenders. But it is an interesting situation. I think to your point with Williams, because he's not the most assertive and like outgoing and just like in your face guy. I think he just falls in place of where he is on the team. Because if you look at it, DeMar is the guy, Zach's the guy because he got paid like the guy. So he's a third option. Like I think maybe if he's in a situation, that's why I always like people try to compare him with Scottie. But Toronto, the difference is Toronto empowered Scottie when he first came in. They looked at Fred VanVleet like, okay, you won us a championship, but there's a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guy that can get his own shot. He's going to be featured. Pascal, I know you're the guy, but we're going to feature Scottie. That didn't happen in Chicago. And plus, 2, now Patrick was injured. I think he wasn't injured for a year for an extended part.
Last year.
So that kind of hurt with the development. I just hope he doesn't get traded, because you know what's going to happen when he gets traded. He gets traded, he's going to flourish somewhere else.
Yep.
We already seen it with Wendell Carter and Lauri Markkanen. Like Lauri Markkanen.
We need to talk about Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen.
Jesus Christ.
We talk about this dude. Lauri Markkanen right now is on pace to be an all-star in the Western Conference.
What we expected when we drafted him. You're like, oh, he could be the next Dirk, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Now he's looking like it. 38
goodness.
last night? Jesus, man.
Yeah, Lauri is just got into a God mode gear. Like, it was fun for the first month where he was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, he's going bozo, but he's still continuing it. Like, he's still playing, like, to Zoo's point, an all-star, which is just, it's like a revelation of like, wow, like Utah, I don't even think Utah saw this. They were just like, oh, we'll get a throw in. Just figure it out. Now it's like, if they want to flip him or do whatever to really tank, like they might actually get some really good capital back, because he's like a legit 7-footer out there shooting threes and making plays. It's incredible. So it's like, you kind of want to just hold on to your assets. So, I hope for the Bulls' sake, they kind of are in the, let's maybe make a trade to get better. But I will kind of not disagree, but I think maybe one of the core differences between the Boston and Chicago situation is I don't think we ever heard Tatum and Brown having issues with each other.
It was everyone
Zach
else
LaVine it was everyone else, and the coach, kind of like with Ime coming in, and it was, I want to say, just because I think that was Ime's first year, it was kind of just like him ingratiating and trying to figure out the team. Yep. I kind of think Billy's been there, and DeMar's been there for a while, and Zach's been there for a while, so I don't know if you kind of can't, the blame kind of has to be put on Zach's front porch, because he is the big, I know DeMar's, like I was just saying, is the leader, but Zach is the guy that's getting paid like he needs to be the leader. So like you say, I think a lot of accountability needs to be put at his front door. And I think if he takes that challenge, like Drew said, like if you have the ability to be a all-world athlete on the offensive end, then I'm going to need to see you do that on the defensive end as well. Because if he's just half of a defender, like, because he didn't even try. Like, if he just is halfway good on defense, it would probably help the Bulls tremendously, because then it would at least inject other guys to play that way, And then once you get other guys buying in on defense, the whole team and demeanor changes. And you got to also remember Lonzo's hurt. He's an integral part. He's a very integral part. It's not like he was just some guy a scrub that they thought would be a six man. No, he got paid too. And when Lonzo's right, he could shoot threes and defend. That's one of his calling cards. So I don't know. I don't think though they should tank because it's hard. It's gonna be hard to get into that top four. If maybe Charlotte and the other teams were playing a little bit better, I'd be like, yeah, tank, trade whoever, get whatever. But the fact that you kind of know who the top four teams are gonna be, you may at best you may get in that 6th or 5th spot, and then that's just gonna piss you off even more because then you're gonna be bad, but then you can't get the top to get the pick. So then it's like you might as well just go to the.
Hey, to be completely honest though, the Magic are only 2 games back of the Bulls right now. So saying that, we're not talking like it's a 5-6 games.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Yeah. That's the one thing I wanted to talk about was how stacked the West is. And I know we've kind of talked about this just off the podcast a bit, but the top 11 seeds are all within 5 games of each other in the Western Conference. Insane. And then you look at the East, same 1-11, which I think the Bulls might be holding the 11th spot right now. It's a 10-game difference, right?
Yep.
But you also look at the East, and the top 2 teams are the best 2 teams in the league by far, the Bucks and the Celtics. Whereas the West, there's no real stud of a team. They're all kind of at that, 18, 19 wins, 11 losses, 10 losses, something like that. And these, the Nuggets, the Pelicans, and Grizzlies just seem to be kind of doing a horse race of who's going to try and hold that first seed. And we know it's early. It's about, a little over a third of the way through the season at this point, about 30 games in for most teams. And I'm just looking at some of these, to your point, Sean, the pretenders versus, the contenders. And I think the Bulls, sorry, Zoo, not the Bulls, the Bucks and the Celtics, those are obviously the two that a lot of people at the beginning of the year thought were probably going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavs, to all of our not real surprise, I think we all predicted them to be a pretty strong dark horse this year.
Donovan Mitchell,
but ahead of
points a game.
Yeah. Oh, ridiculous. But ahead of the Sixers and Nets, who have both actually they've been getting back to normal a little bit. Kyrie's looking real nice. Past couple games. Yeah, game winner. Nice. Yeah. Finally, I forget who it was. It might have been what's his name? Boston guy. Bill Simmons. He put Kyrie at the 77th best player in the league, man.
Just, that's bias.
Because he screwed the hell out of Boston.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this
Boston
guy's right now. Past couple weeks, he's been a top 20 player in the league, and I think the Nets are kind of getting back on track. Sixers are getting hot. Hell, man, the Knicks have been hot lately. There's just been a lot of. I just noticed, that's kind of the thing I've been noticing is just the ups and downs of a lot of teams this year. And then you see Ja Morant pretty much saying the only team I'm scared of in the league is the Celtics. So, the West is looking a bit easier, I think, than the East this year. It's just that there's a lot of teams that are going to need to prove themselves. Like, the Kings, for example, can the Jazz actually hang on? The Blazers, are the Clippers ever going to figure it out with Kawhi? Just are all these teams, they have to kind of figure it out at this point. But right now, I think, the Nuggets are looking pretty solid. Jokic is just an absolute god.
I want to talk about I want to talk about the Joker, man. This dude right now, I think we're desensitized of how good this guy is right now because back-to-back MVP. Absolutely. I feel like the voters are getting voting fatigue this year as far as giving him 3 times in a row. That's only happened like Larry Bird. That was the last time it happened. That was in the 80s. So are they going to want to give that title to Nikola Jokic, who people don't really think face of the league, but he is one of the faces of the league. This dude is so good at this. Dude dropped a 40-20 game
and 10. He had 10 assists too.
That hasn't been done since Wilt Chamberlain. And the dude and Jamal Murray right now, he's not the same.
No.
This dude was an all-star caliber player in the bubble. The dude was playing like an NBA superstar in the bubble. Right now, he's still recovering that ACL injury. So he's playing like a solid starter type player. So he's not playing like an all-star caliber player right now. Porter Jr. got injured again. Dude, this is the reason why he dropped. And the doctors were scared of his back. And now we see why they're doctors. They diagnosed that perfectly. Michael Porter is a Band-Aid. So right now, Jokic just Gordon and little Bruce Brown. He's just playing with a bunch of nice little role players again. And the dude has to do it all. Last time I getting a 13, man. The dude he's the point guard of the team. He's a true point center. I have an MVP right now. If he gets the first seed in the Western Conference
Over
with this
Tatum?
what he has.
Yeah, over Tatum, Zoo?
MVP
That's tough.
again, man. I'm, yeah.
He's coming out.
Yeah, I'm putting. A good basketball team. When Nikola Jokic goes off the basketball court, they're the Orlando Magic, man.
Yeah, that's true.
That's who they are, man. They're the Magic. So I'm.
I think we're
losing
losing
Zoo
Zoo.
for a second.
So I'm going.
He's on a heater.
Yeah, he's on a heater right now.
No voting fatigue, man. I ain't getting desensitized from last year, man. Ain't getting desensitized from last year.
Okay.
So the
So you
Joker,
gotta-
man, I'm putting my vote. I'm putting him as MVP again, man. Right now. Right now.
Okay. I mean, we're 30 games in. I mean, Sean, I agree with you. I know you were just saying Tatum. I mean, Tatum's been on a heater, and I think obviously we talked about him getting kind of called out last year and really stepping up. That man did not have a good NBA Finals last year against the Warriors. I mean, he put up 21 a game on 37% shooting. That's unacceptable for being the best player on your team. Obviously, they still made it a pretty damn good series. It was a solid finals. But at the same time, man, he's come back strong. He's averaging 38 rebounds, which is huge. And I think he's actually up around 5 assists this year. So he's actually facilitating a lot better. Efficient for how much volume he has at 47% shooting. I mean, you can't ask for much better. And I think the big thing is they're about to get Robert Williams back.
Yeah, he already came back recently.
He came back? Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, now can he stay healthy? There's the question. But he's definitely the defensive anchor on that Celtics side. So, yeah, man, I think Jokic is individually just carrying. But once again, is the fatigue going to set in for him this early in the season, having to do this much just to keep his team? Obviously, they're the first seed, so I wouldn't want to use the word relevant. But in the West, you kind of have to be – you're fighting with all those other teams, man. So, I don't know. I think a team like the Grizzlies, if Zion continues to stay healthy, I know he's been in and out of the lineup, man. The Pelicans could be pretty scary. I didn't think they'd be this good, but once again, a couple games did, and you're down to the 7th or 8th seed in this conference right now. So there's just a lot of movement that's going on right now, and I don't know if I just don't know if the Nuggets can keep the one spot, Zoo. I think that's my issue with it. But the Celtics have a legit shot to keep it. Or
let's be real. If Jokic, salute to him. Like you said, Jokic is, and I think part of the reason why Jokic doesn't get the credit or people may get fatigued is because it's the NBA, man. It's the personality. Like he got branded as the Joker, but he doesn't have like this outlet. Like, you know, Giannis is goofy, like LeBron's LeBron, like whoever, like all these stars, they kind of have. Now you can't argue what personality does Tatum have, but I think he involves his son a lot, so he kind of does a little bit of the dad, thing. So it kind of gives him this nice PR with the NBA. But if Tatum continues this, he's going to win the MVP. Jokic is not going to get 3 in a row, even if his team is the number 1 seed. Because, like you say, it's the same thing with Giannis. Like Giannis could have an argument for being the MVP before the Jokic thing. Like he could have been MVP 4 out of the last 6 or 7 years. Like he's been out of this world too. But fatigue is a real thing. So I think if Tatum has a stark fall off and he just kind of goes back to being like just Tatum of last year, and he was not on this MVP arc, I think I think Jokic has a better chance. But one player I wanted to shout out this year, and I kind of hinted at it a little bit on my the Bullheaded _pod page on Instagram, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's playing like the cornerstone franchise, bona fide number 1, even though he won the number 1 pick, number 1 player for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's got me to thinking, OKC, we all know their draft record. We all know that they are able to draft really well. But if they somehow, which I don't think is going to be possible with how good Shai is playing and just the young talent they have on the team, they're not going to be, I feel like, in the Wembanyama like sweepstakes. But if they somehow manage to get in there and finesse a way to get him or get in the running of getting him, it would be insane to see Shai and Wembanyama. I mean, I know Chet's injured and he would come back, but he could just be a nice counterpiece. But the 2 cornerstones of your franchise potentially being Shai and Wembanyama, it makes me feel like OKC could run off like, excuse me, Zion, excuse me, Ja, like we're going to run the West now. Like that's how good I think that combo could be because Shai's just on this. he's improved in almost every facet of his game, whether it's like distributing the players, whether it's scoring, clutch, like making all kind of different types of shots in last minute games. Like he's improved to a level where we know he's going to be an all-star. We already know that. But could he reach a level of being an all NBA type guy? Because you got to remember, like Shea, I want to say he's what, 25 maybe? How old? Like 24? I don't know.
25.
In that range. So it's not like he's this, I mean, he's a veteran, but it's not like he's this,
24.
Yeah, so he's 24. It's not like he's in this latter part of his 20s where it's like, okay, he's reaching his true prime. He's still, I feel like, got another step. And it's really intriguing because it's like, okay, what does OKC do? Like, they're not going to move him. Because, earlier in the year, I was like, well, maybe they would move Shea because they want to get into the Wembanyama sweepstakes. But then it's like, he's playing so well that he's part of the solution. He's part of what it's going to be if they do make it to a championship game. He's going to be part of the I'm holding a trophy and I'm one of the core guys. So now it's like you're looking at other guys on your team. How are you going to maneuver around Shea? That should be like the thinking of the OKC offense. And I know Chet, they drafted him number 2 or whatever, and he's in the plans. He's hurt. But it's like, what have you done for me lately? And Shea is just, he's, relatively young, and he's playing out of his mind. So that's a storyline that I'm interested in. Like, I don't think they're going to be bad enough to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, but if they somehow finesse that, oh boy, like that's gonna make me really interested in OKC games. And also, because you always got, I guess put this as a disqualifier. I don't know what his contract situation is, but it's like, how stars get. And if he keeps playing like this, there's going to be bigger markets that are going to call. But I guess that'll come. Yeah. It's
they don't like to pay.
Yeah. So, that could be a situation down the road. But right now, just enjoying watching him play. Like, he's definitely been my favorite watching the league the entire way. Because it's also, too, with him, he's not outwardly athletic.
No,
he's just super skilled, and like you can tell he's a gym rat with just his skills, like how he positions, how he gets angles. He's just, listen, I know everybody, like you say, everybody says yes, you make that trade for Kawhi, but I don't know, man.
It's looking like they lost the trade, man. Like the only way they win the trade is they win a championship,
and I don't think that's happening.
No,
and with this Kawhi on and off, like he's a part-time player right now. He's a part-time player. So is PG right now. He's been also missing a lot of games in his Clippers history right now. He's been missing a lot of games.
I don't think they win a championship. Maybe if they get to a finals, maybe.
Nah, they gotta win it. You can't just make a final. You gotta win it, man. You mortgaged the next half decade of your prime, and you have this kid in Shea, who's putting up 30 points a game as a 24-year-old, who's putting up Michael Jordan numbers. Who's a two-way player, really long arms, really lanky. The dude's been hitting game winners like every other game. Like this dude has like 3 game winners this year. He had that deep 3, had that mid-range, he had that little left-handed jump shot. My goodness, man, he's been clutch. Like a lot of the wins this year, just all Shea. It's all Shea because he's playing with a bunch of kids. He's playing with a bunch of college kids right now. And he's carrying them.
That's gonna be interesting, man.
And Presti's licking his chops right now.
Yeah, he does.
He's a monster. He's a monster too. Sam Presti he might go down as one of the greatest GMs ever.
Yeah, for
he
sure.
Might already be
what?
He might already
the job
be
at 29, 30.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I mean, an argument can be made for Bob Myers, but I don't think Bob Myers has made as many.
No, he drafted James Wiseman, man. He's excluded, man, all time, man. I'm telling you, man. That will go down as one of the worst draft picks of all time, up there with Darko Milicic. Darko Milicic, man. Darko Milicic. I'm telling you.
Who besides Lonzo? Or not Lonzo, LaMelo. That's it. And he did not want to go there.
It doesn't matter, man. Who cares? Draft him.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, too.
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton, they had him as a range from 5 to 10. That was the range. I remember that was the pre-draft analysis. So he was around that area. So I'm telling you, James Wiseman's in the G League right now.
Yeah.
And he's not even putting up numbers. He should be averaging like 20 and 20, man. Dude, come on.
I still got hope.
I don't even think the Warriors got hope, man. They probably, I tell you, Bob Myers probably like, oh my God, right now, man. We got to try to flip this dude for a vet. Try to help Steph Curry
They
right
won
now.
another ring last year, man. I know.
Yeah,
Do
with
we wanna talk
Wiseman
about
doing
that?
nothing. He contributed as much as me, man, sitting on the bench.
Draft. I'm looking at that draft, the Halliburton one, because all the rest of these guys, like,
Patrick Williams.
yeah, he was after him, but there's no other guys in this draft. Yeah, the Tyrese Hall and Maxey.
Maxey. I don't know if anybody saw.
But he was
Desmond
never.
Bain, but
Yeah, he
nobody
was
saw
definitely not
Maxey or
going to
Desmond
go.
Bain. Yeah,
That was not really.
and Halliburton. To be
Yeah, that
honest,
was-
who was
those were late.
nobody really thought Halliburton was going to be doing anything. Killian Hayes went 7. I forgot about that.
No, people talking about Halliburton. People were talking about Halliburton.
I wasn't.
They said he had a little Lonzo in his game, man. A little Lonzo.
Speaking of which, he's
But
the-
then maybe
do we
if
wanna-
we get
do we wanna
Halliburton,
waste
maybe we
any
don't-
breath
I don't got
on the Warriors and Lakers. That was the only other one I wanted to bring up.
The Warriors, I think they'll be fine, but they got to
so?
be careful. I think they have to be careful that, like, of course, they got beat up by the Knicks last night, but the Knicks have been playing well. But I think they got to be careful because of how the West is. Like, you can't get too deep in the hole. Like, and I guess you could say the same for the Lakers. Like, you got to tread water with your stars. You can't just go like win one game and then lose 2 or 3, because you can find yourself getting out of that like I wouldn't say danger zone, but you can find yourself out of even getting. Basically, you're thrown in the water without a life jacket. Like right now, they have life jackets, but they got to swim to shore. If they keep playing how they're playing right now with the Warriors and the Lakers, and more so the Warriors because Steph's hurt, they could get to a point where the life jacket's off and they're forced to swim to shore, and they're not going to make it because nobody's swimming as far as they need to. Say it's 4 miles from shore. You're not making that swim. It's over. You're going to drown.
Yeah,
I think it's in both situations. And I think if I had to pick out the two, it would be more. It's more questions the Lakers because you don't know how long Anthony Davis is going to be hurt for.
he was carrying.
They're
them
saying
for
a
while.
month. Yeah, AD was playing like an MVP, and I put up a thing on the story. Like if it wasn't for injuries, I still would take AD as one of the best big men in the league. He does everything. He just can't stay healthy. So it's like I can't ever make a solid argument about him being the best big man because he's always hurt, which is unfortunate because you see what he can do. Like he went to Giannis and said, "You're a little boy." He did that to Giannis. People don't do that. As much as we love Jokic, he don't just go to Giannis and be like, "You're a little boy to me." He did that to Giannis. And like to me, AD, that's the thing. It's like he's the perfect example of like the peaks are really good, but the valleys are so low that it makes you disgusted.
You're at your score, man.
It makes you want to like vomit, like how low his lows are. Because then it's like you see like because it's funny. It's anytime like during his tear, right? I don't know. There was a video of him on might have been Bleacher Report or something where they were playing football, and it's like, all right, now you see he was doing football clips and running routes, and then guess what? 2 days later or a couple games later, he's injured with they said he twisted his ankle in the air, which is how does that even happen?
Yeah.
Like
no
what? Like Jokic's leg made of steel? How does that even happen? Like did it just hit steel? So I would say the Lakers have way more questions, but the Warriors too, like they haven't been playing the greatest. And Steph, I think they said is going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I'm guessing maybe to the new year, but you got to be careful. It's
going to be rough for them without Steph.
Yeah.
It's going to be rough with them.
We've seen their records without him.
Yeah, their record without Steph is the Orlando Magic, my favorite example.
Pretty much.
So right now they're down 40 points to the Brooklyn
To who?
Nets. Brooklyn
The
Nets.
Nets.
Oh, the Brooklyn Nets.
40 points. 40.
Wow.
I think maybe those guys just went out.
It is 95 to 52. 95 to 52. I got to repeat that, man. So, like, they're a G League team. They're legitimately a G League team. I'm surprised James Weiss not playing for them right now, but Jesus Christ. This team.
So, Poole, Draymond, Clay, Looney.
No, Clay's not playing because he doesn't really play back-to-backs right now. So they're rocking.
I'm talking about a normal night.
Yeah, but right now their lineup is Jordan Poole, Moses Moody, Kevon Looney, Kuminga, and Draymond Green. So you got a passer, Draymond got no one to pass, dude. JP he's okay. Kevon Looney.
I ain't trying to hear that. That's no excuse. You should not be down 50-something points. With
no. James Wiseman is playing on this team. He's actually balling right now. He got 17.
There you go. He's the best player on the team without Curry.
Now it makes sense. The Warriors G League team got their star back, James Wiseman.
See, all he needed was a
chance. What was I watching? I cannot remember. Tyreek Hill had this is and this goes, and sometimes I feel like maybe this is a point. Tyreek Hill said this on the Shannon Sharp podcast. I watched that the other day. And I know this is the NFL point, but he was just talking about opportunity with guys in the league. Because Shannon Sharp was like, what's your top 5 receivers? And he was like, man, like, there's really not. I mean, I can give you a top 20, 25. And Shannon's like, no, there's not guys that are Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs. He's like, says who? He was like, these guys that you guys think are just bum athletes or whatever, they're in the NFL. He's like, if they get featured, he was saying, like, they may not put up 1,500 like me, but he was like, they gonna all put up 1,000. They gonna all put up 1,100. He was like, if they're featured. And it got me to thinking, like, sometimes I think with guys in the league, if they're just featured, they can give you points. They just have to be featured. Like, sometimes guys, like, you got to think a lot. All these guys that are in the league, they were all superstars on the college level and even bigger superstars on the high school level. When you, like, say it's about playing your role, Wiseman's not playing his role. His role is to rebound and roll. And in his head, being a number 2 pick, he shouldn't be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he should be getting – listen, I know it sounds crazy, but he thinks he should be, like, on that team, I guarantee you, even though Steph's the guy, I guarantee he goes in there thinking every night, man, I should be the freaking number 2 option on this team. I'm the number 2 pick. Jordan Poole, okay, you got paid a bag. I'm better than you. I was drafted number 2. You were drafted whenever you was drafted. They think like that. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, that's how they think. And the best teams and the best players are the teams that play their role. Like, Wiseman needs to play his role because guess what, buddy? You're not the second option on that team. You're never going to be the second option on the team. This Poole, I mean, Clay is kind of hurt, but Poole and Steph are in 1 and 2. Draymond is a facilitator. He just needs to play his role. But, like, guys in the league, if they get opportunity, they can score. They can get points. Look at you just brought up Lauri Markkanen. He's being featured. Now look.
Yeah.
He's being featured. He's getting buckets. I mean, I don't know what his role was in Chicago, but it's like it obviously wasn't the role it is in Utah.
He was a camper, man. Camp and shoot. That's all they asked him to do.
They turned Lauri Markkanen into Ryan Anderson, man. That's what happened. We got we needed Lauri Markkanen straight to the corner, Jim Boylan straight to the corner, and then he just chilling there. Just chilling there.
I blame Jim Boylan for sure, Zoo. I agree.
Oh, man. Go in the corner, Lauri. Bad Lauri.
But I will say,
only shoot threes.
I'm going to lead that in, Sean, because I know we got our betting topic. But one of the games is Grizzlies-Warriors, man. I'm sure the NBA is crying right now at the fact that Steph Curry's injured because they wanted that rematch of the playoffs from last year.
They definitely did.
With both teams being healthy. Because I still will hold true, man. John Morant doesn't get injured. I think they take that series last year.
I still think they do. True.
I think, or at least it would have gone 7. And I think they might have been able to pull it out. And now you're looking at this game, and I mean, the Grizzlies money line, absolute lock of a bet. I don't know. I'm sure they're minus 300 at least, minus 280.
Yeah, they don't even have lines right now.
There you go. Yeah, they don't even know what to. They don't even know what to price it at Vegas. They're like, is Klay Thompson playing? Is he not? You know, is James Wiseman going to drop 30? You know, who knows?
But okay, you bring up James Wiseman again. If you're the Golden State Warriors front office right now, Bob Myers, Chicago Bulls call you. Yo, we give you Alex Caruso for James Wiseman. You doing that?
No. I'm not doing that.
For the Bulls?
If you're Bob Myers.
Well, Bob Myers.
Bob Myers.
I'm asking for, like,
probably not
something else. No, I'm not.
He'd probably ask for Patrick
Williams. Because, I mean, Dante, listen, they got Dante DiVincenzo, bro.
Yeah. Man, you heard Steve Kerr, man. Steve Kerr was recruiting Alex Caruso after that blowout loss.
I saw the video.
Yeah, he was recruiting. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you, Steve Kerr would probably be like, "Yeah, take the G League kid. I'm on Caruso. I'm trying to win a championship."
Would you give up Moody for him? I'd give up Moody for him because we already got Jordan Poole as a scorer, so like Moody's just extra cushion, but Caruso would bring a whole different element. I mean, Moody's just a lesser version.
As AK in this position, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
So you would want Wiseman over Moody?
No, I don't want Wiseman either, man. Stop it.
Zoo doesn't want any.
I don't want any of them, man. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to be in the top 7 seeds, man. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to win right now.
We're gonna be the 6th seed, and we're gonna get swept by the Bucks, or 5 because DeRozan drops another 40 piece. That's the only way it'll happen.
That's the only thing, man. We can't play the Bucks, man. That's our kryptonite. I'll play the Celtics. We'll pick up our big boy pants and play the Celtics, but no Bucks, man. No Bucks.
Well, nobody can stop Giannis, but yeah, man. Hey, there's another Christmas Day matchup. That should be probably the best game. Bucks Celtics.
I think it will be the best game.
It's their first matchup this year. They haven't played yet. which
That's
surprised me a
definitely an
little
Eastern Conference preview with Philly lurking, but I think that's a Eastern
Mhm.
Conference preview. And with Boston,
bit. Cleveland.
yeah.
The other
It's
one.
funny because I still have like, even though everybody in the East looks better, like the team like last year that were middling, they're like a little bit better this year. I still like the Bucks. Because there's no answer for Giannis. And I feel like in playoff basketball, because Giannis has done it so much, it's just you got to play, you got to adapt to his style. And it would be really hard for me. Now, Boston would be the only team I would maybe go on a limb and be like, okay, I may.
Do you know who the Giannis stopper is? Do you know who the Giannis stopper is? Jabari Smith, man. Jabari Smith locked him down, man.
I need
And
to say something.
Jabari Smith and the one in this year, man, limited him to 16 points. 16 points. Bothered him.
Every time Zoo goes on a heater, man.
Yeah, every time he goes on the heater.
Blueprint right there for you, man. How to stop Giannis, man. Key guy, man. Play up on him. Make
Hey, Jabari's played really good defense this year.
He has played really
trying to shoot.
solidly.
Yeah.
But Sean, Christmas Day though, what are the other games we got? I think we got Sixers Knicks is the first one. I'm looking it up right now. We got Lakers Mavs.
Apollo, man. That's all I gotta say, man.
Where did Paolo Banchero come from?
Oh, God.
And I think this might be the end of the podcast. Out of all those games, Bucks and Celtics to me is the one that I will enjoy the most. Mavs and Lakers would have been more interesting if AD was playing, just because I want to see Luka go against two megastars. But it's LeBron and whoever else is left, so that's whatever.
Suns Nuggets is the last game. That one gets chippy. They get chippy, man. Remember that's when Jokic got ejected last year.
The Suns, man, they're becoming a very unlikable team.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from DeAndre Ayton and his relationship with the coach, which it just seems like he doesn't want to be.
Monty Williams, yeah.
Chris Paul and he does the
Kardashian curse, man. The Kardashian curse, man.
Besides that, like he does the sneakiest. Like when he tried to like elbow Alvarado, like I don't. That's funny to me. Like, come on, bro. Like, stop doing. Like, I know he gets in that zero, like that dark dirt, whatever LeBron's saying. It's like you're just focused on the game and you're just so into what you're doing. But like, it's getting old. Like like you said, you're picking on Alvarado. Like he's an undrafted free agent. Like, relax. Like you're just mad because he's playing hard.
You a couple times. No, pickpocketed you a couple times, man.
It's just like, bro, it's so, like them, and I mean, Book's cool, but even Book, like, I didn't like how he was like when Pat Bev. Nobody likes Pat Bev, but Pat Bev obviously pushed Ayton because Austin Reeves. They stood over Austin Reeves and was like, "Yeah, you're a punk." It's Austin Reeves, and you're Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. You think you're cool and tough because you're standing over Austin Reeves, and then Dev Book comes in the post game. Pat, which I did agree, but Pat Bev needs to be pushing people from the front instead of the back. Well, stop standing over Austin Reeves, and I won't push you in the back. Like, is that hard to understand? So it's like that team. Phoenix may be good, but I lost so much respect after that Dallas game last year. And this year, like, okay, if they make the playoffs, go to the finals and win it. If not, shut up.
I don't think they will this year.
You know what I want, man? I need a rematch between the Phoenix Suns and New Orleans Pelicans, man. Every single regular season game this year,
didn't it?
Yeah, went 6, and you're adding Zion, who's at his peak right now. This dude is when this guy gets one-on-one coverage.
Grizzlies, man.
Yeah. When he gets one-on-one coverage, man, he just goes straight in. You get to layup every single time. You can't stop him. You have to double team him. If he they put Mikal Bridges on him, who was an All-NBA defender last year. Barbecue chicken, man. Chicken fingers.
Yeah.
That's why he sees, man. That Mikal Bridges chicken wing right there, man. That skinny little dude can't guard Zion. Are you kidding me? Like, this dude every time ISO, man. And you got Brandon Ingram as a psychic with a CJ as an Alfred. Come on now. That team is locked and loaded.
Don't forget about Alvarado, man.
Oh, you got Jose Alvarado.
And Jonas, too.
Yeah.
That's another
that team.
I know he hasn't been playing great.
It's loaded. It's loaded.
It all hinges on Zion, but I think I might be with you, people. That might be the Western Conference I want to see is the Grizzlies versus Pelicans.
1 and 2, man.
Storylines in that.
First pick, second pick, man.
I mean, we all know the more talented team is the Pelicans, but I think the more team chemistry is.
Their chemistry, man.
By far.
They doing the wave during the game after a blowout against the Milwaukee Bucks, man. They got like
40.
the best chemistry and best vibes like in the NBA
They
right
played
now.
Giannis pretty well. There's
Oh,
another
yeah.
team that played Giannis
They
pretty
play
well.
hard. They play hard.
After Jaren Jackson coming back, man, their defense has been legit. Like Jaren
He's
Jackson
good.
getting, they call him like the Block Panther, man. This dude
Yeah.
blocks everything. Man.
What a great
insane.
nickname.
I'm telling you, man. Jaren Jackson on defense is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
team.
that's
yeah,
what I'm
I
saying. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sean. It's all you.
Yeah, just to wrap up, like I'm just excited about the league because I know it's Christmas, so it's not even like halfway through the league season, but it's just enjoyable to see outside of the bottom four teams, like how intriguing the league is, which is every night seems like a competitive night. You can't blow teams out. Like, you're getting like these historic performances from like LeBron and AD where they're putting up like 30 and 50, and it's like it's still a 4 or 5 point game in the fourth quarter. Like that shows you the depth of the league, man. It shows you like I feel like gone are the days of having the 2-star formula. Like that can work maybe when LeBron was at his peak and he had a second star, but like with LeBron, not declining, but being older, if you're not at that LeBron level peak, just like, and like Giannis is close, like in terms of how he's playing, but if you're not at that level of how he was playing when he was with Kyrie or with D-Wade, we really only needed like 2, even though he had the third complimentary star, but like 2 main guns, that ain't working in today's league. You got to have a complete deep team to make. And a perfect example of that is the Warriors. Like they won it last year, and guess who other team they were playing? The Boston Celtics, who I guess you might say is as deep, but they have a lot of young guys who were viable enough to get them to the final. So that's what I enjoy about the league this year. Like it just seems like as the teams, progress through the seasons, you're gonna have the bottom feeders, as in every major sport. But man, it's just the depth and the competitiveness of the league is really interesting. That's why, like these, like you say, the teams are not separated by much. Hopefully, throughout the new year into maybe the trade deadline, you might see some shakeup. But it's just nice to see, man. It's just nice to see every team feels like every team that's playing right now, you may not feel like you have a chance, but at least you feel like there's only a few games like, oh, we just got blown the hell out. Like, okay, yeah, the 150 game in Chicago, yeah, whatever. But like most of the games, like, oh, we have a chance. Like you don't feel like every game's like, well, we're just losing. We're not gonna have a chance. And you like, no, like unless you're Orlando, Charlotte.
Man,
Antonio, Houston.
Orlando was on a 6-game winning streak, man. They were streaking.
And and they got players. So it's like they got, I think, Bobo, Paolo.
Bobo's balling, man.
He is
balling.
Like they got guys. Like
they want to be Wembanyama.
Like Markel's playing decent minutes. He's not injured anymore. So it's like, hey, you got guys like Cole Anthony. They got every team has players. Every team has players, which is exciting if you're an NBA fan.
And I'm sorry to say, the Zoo. Just real quick, the Hawks have cut it within 5. Man. The Hawks have cut it within 5.
That's probably
it's all good, man.
I had to get Zoo's reaction. Just had to get Zoo's reaction for everyone on the pod tonight.
Shout out to the Bulls. We'll keep it copacetic. Hopefully they're able to pull out the win. But as a podcast, we just want to give you guys a little bit of a teaser with the NBA. Like I said, we'll be full force with the NFL next week. And as the weeks go, the playoffs will become with the NFL, and we'll probably sneak in a little bit more NBA content. But if you guys want to tune in to NBA, NFL content, and another quick shout out to Argentina, Messi. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but that was one of the all-time games, bro. All-time games.
Mbappe's second goal.
Oh, beautiful. My God, bro. That was, like you say, soccer guy, full transparency, not me, not the soccer guy. But I will watch a epic like World Cup final. I will watch
3-3
that. And
PKs, that save at the end. What can you say, man? It was a beautiful game. Beautiful
it really
match.
was.
Sorry.
Really was. So going back to that, the page is primarily NFL and NBA, but I will put up things like that with the World Cup if it's big enough of an event. And shout out to baseball too to sign all these massive contracts. So if you guys want to look into that, you look at ESPN. That won't be on the Bullheaded page, but like I said, if you want to tune into the Bullheaded_pod page, it's on Instagram. Tune into our TikTok, Bullheaded864. Make sure you tune into our DSPs, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are out.